The NFL season has officially wrapped up the 2025 season. And yeah, it's playoffs here, man. It's put up or shut up. But before we get into that, any major takeaways, any major disappointments, any major feelings at all about this particular NFL season?
Um, for one, we don't get to carry Philip Rivers into 2026. Colts started off hot. If you look at early pods, it was like, man, they're gonna do it, and then
But I also
God did. No,
no, but
they had some bad luck.
I also feel like we all were kind of saying like we don't know if this is sustainable because we were like even if they do get into the playoffs, it's just like nah, like a team can be hot, but like if you're not hot going into the playoffs or in December, don't matter.
But
But
they're not 7-1.
they were, and they finished. I want either 8-9 or 9-8. Like it was something crazy.
And we're was Baker Mayfield in MVP talks?
He was in MVP talks the first third of the year. Yeah. So
Sorry, crazy world.
a lot can change in a month. But yeah, anything else?
Okay, wait. Week 18. Oh, uh, no! Oh, Lamar. That was a crazy ending.
Crazy
Hey, shouts
game.
out the black man keeps his job at the end of the day. John Harbaugh's out. So two good things come from it. We get a
But you want
twilight,
Harbaugh out?
maybe. Huh?
You okay with Harbaugh being out?
I mean, I told you we were the dumbest, best team of all time. Like I've never seen a more. I mean, that comes down to execution. That's coaching at some point. We like you can only have so much talent year after year and do nothing with it. I mean, a lot of people could go. I mean, granted, it's his first time missing the playoffs in 4 years. The Bengals have kept their coach of 3 years not making the playoffs for reasons. Kofi, let us know. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I think it sucks for the Ravens, but it's a greater net good for them in the long run. If like Lamar, stays there and they're the team that they are, let's see what they look like under new ownership, new leadership, and run it back with a pretty decent team that should be a lot better than on the bubble and now out. You know,
That's real. I mean, and they kind of had a tumultuous season to, yeah, they kind of had a tumultuous season to begin with. Lamar, didn't play half the games, was dealing with injuries, what felt like all season to begin with. Derrick Henry was, until he played us, I feel like he was having a very uncharacteristic season. And
early year.
all of a sudden he play us and now he want to be King Henry again. I digress. But yeah, they had a tough season in general. And you would have hoped to have them make it just kind of for the story, but to the game, great game, crazy
And,
ending.
and A-Rod's in the playoffs. Shouts
I
out.
will
We get to see.
never, I will never, y'all are not gonna make me hate Aaron Rodgers. I didn't like the way he was pushed out of Green Bay to begin with. I've never not been an Aaron Rodgers fan. So I am perfectly fine with him being in the playoffs. And do I think he still got some magic left in him? Hey man, say man. He's one. Also, this probably came up. I think this came up on the pod with Josh. And I don't want this to be too much of a side note, but I genuinely think I know that the knock on Rodgers is the one Super Bowl ring and a lot of the flame outs, like, in the playoffs. Even though a lot of that was because he didn't have a great defense and he was just dragging the team with the offense, all by itself. But all that aside, I don't know where Rodgers falls in like the all-time QB conversation. I think most people might have him maybe right outside the five. I'm assuming. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't have him top five for one reason or another, especially if you considering like accolades and maybe the rings for sure, because he does have 4 MVPs. Point I'm making is I don't know if there's an argument for a better football thrower than Aaron Rodgers. I show me the tape where you see somebody that throws a football better than Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if that tape exists.
Also, just being the Hail Mary, king is kind of dope. I outside of just like how accurate he already was with the ball, like I don't know. He's in my top five, but
He would be in my top five too. No bias included in that. But I think a lot of people, because of the narrative, I feel like a lot of people write him off, or a lot of people don't want to include him in that way. Really mainly because of the narrative. Like, oh, he gets to the conference championship and flames out, or misses opportunities, whatever the case may be. But is what it is. I'm just saying I ain't mad at Rodgers in the playoffs. I'm not a Steelers fan, but I do respect Steelers fans. Can't say that for every fan base. But I digress. But no, that's real. My bad, go ahead.
Refs. The refs got saved. The refs got saved. The refs got saved. Oh my God. If
That's been the
Carolina
case.
was
That's
still
been
in
the
the
case
playoffs,
all season.
if Carolina did not make the playoffs, that would have been it. I think there would have been an uproar from the entire state, both Carolinas. Um, I like talk. Tell me what you saw, because
I didn't see
watching
I
that
didn't see
game
that
was
game. I didn't see that game.
it was there was I will not get into specifics, but for those who know, just it felt very, let's sell this game that's tomorrow that will shape the playoffs by selling this one. Where it's like now people have to watch the Saints game. We're gonna get so many fan bases that are needing to watch this because we Tampa won this one. It was, I don't know. For those that know, run the tape. Let us know what you think. Do you think that it was an inside job to get people to watch New Orleans versus Atlanta? I believe it was,
Crazy.
which is
Yeah.
a nothing burger game. Uh, it just felt funny. I don't know. There was like some blatant missed calls,
Uh,
but
are you are you happy with the winner of the NFC South? Are you happy it's the Panthers and not the
no,
Buccaneers?
no. Like,
Would you rather
I
it be the
think it'd be a
Buccaneers? Do you
more
think it would
fun.
make a difference? You think the Bucks? You think if it was
I
the
don't think
Bucks,
it
it
would
would make
make
a
a difference
difference?
either. I don't like. No, honestly, I'm not moved either way. But I thought that game was interesting. Not that I had any chips to hold. Shouts out Bucky Irving. Didn't really do much. Shouts out Rico Dowdle, also on my bench. Um, got it done. So that's really
So I know this came
that's
up.
what I was.
So I know this came up last year, but I respect the tradition and the idea that the division winner like gets in the playoffs, right? However, I think there should be a caveat. You get in as a division winner if you got a 500 record. If nobody in that division has a 500 record, watch the division, and after the three division winners, just go by best record. It's never going to happen, right? But
That's
I think that would make for overall better matchups. Because to your point, whether it's the Panthers or the Bucks, who do they get? The Rams. Like, and the Rams just so happen to not win enough games to be the number one seed, but they easily could have been. And the fact that they were pretty much going to get somebody from the NFC West this year, which was a crazy division outside of the Cardinals, like they're not favored they wouldn't be favored in any matchup. So it's just kind of like is what it is. Again, I digress. Point is, some changes could be looked at NFL. I'm just saying. But kind of going back to Harbaugh for a little bit. You brought up Harbaugh. He was the latest coach to be fired, but I think that's now a total of six, maybe five or six that have been fired since the end of the season. Since the end of the season. Not surprising, but I'm very interested to see if this number changes as the playoffs go on and as the season officially hits its end.
what were all the teams? All
Uh Atlanta, Raheem Morris is out. Cleveland, Stefanski is out. Dable was
he
out.
is.
Dable was already gone. Tennessee's coach
Yep.
was already gone. Uh Harbaugh and Pete Carroll. That's the six.
Yep. Yeah.
But I mean, I
You think
guess
there's anyone else?
not as of right now, not as of this recording. But
No, I'm saying like Mike McDaniel's
oh,
maybe gets the boot. You maybe think. Is there
I
anyone else that you think?
I wonder if the fact that Tua had such a tumultuous season that Daniel's job might be saved a little bit because he gets a crack at another QB, whoever that might be.
Yeah,
They decide to make some
yeah,
type of move. But still very much on the table. Wouldn't be surprised to see it happen.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Nobody else kind of stands out as in immediate kind of like it's for sure going to happen. I There might be some playoff teams where how things go, might determine what they do with their head coach. Unfortunately, I think that's the situation Green Bay is in. I don't agree with it personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if it has an impact on decisions depending on how things go. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how large that carousel gets. I've heard that Harbaugh and Stefanski are the two best in the pool so far. Do you agree with that?
The fan is one of the
I
best.
mean, I didn't realize he had won Coach of the Year two times, but I mean, outside of this year, I don't. I mean, and it might
I,
have just been his
I,
handling of Shador, but I haven't heard too much bad outside of this season.
I couldn't tell me that he's a two-time Coach of the Year award.
I was today
I
years
couldn't
old.
call it. There were
I was today years
it
old.
just watching that fourth and goal, that Wildcat fourth and goal. It just felt like self-sabotage. You couldn't tell me that he was two-time Coach of the Year before this. I would
That
have never
will
known. I would have thought that would have been Dayball before him.
maybe, and I guess it also depends on the jobs as well, because there might be other jobs that open up, but then you might be battling against DCs, OCs, whatever the case may be. Um, but they really were saying Stefanski, apparently he was really high on Cam Ward, so they were saying he might really be looking at the Tennessee job to get a chance to coach Cam, which would be crazy in the narrative that already has begun between him and Shador this season, but. I digress. We'll talk more about Shador a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But Harbaugh probably is for sure the front runner because I mean he's just too experienced of a coach, and sometimes maybe it is new scenery, whatever the case may be. So we'll see. But yeah, I think my other really like major and like biggest takeaway from the season was kind of seeing a lot of things like flip on their head. So like all season we were saying like I'm not counting the Chiefs out until they're out, and they're out for the first time in 6 seasons. Uh,
Color me shocked.
no, I'm very shocked. I thought they were going to find a way to get in and be a wild card and still potentially make some Cinderella run. I mean, a lot of things are possible with Mahomes, but his injury was tough to begin with as is. But you saw the Chiefs kind of like fall from grace a little bit. That sounds dramatic. I'm just saying their dynasty is over. But they kind of had that fall from grace. The Bills didn't look as dominant as they have the past couple of years. Same with the Ravens. Joe Burrow had injuries again, so I think that created room for Denver to have a season like they did, for the Jaguars to have a season like they did, the Patriots, like a lot of teams in the AFC that are historically like relatively good, but haven't been good in the last 5-ish years, like maybe this decade, so to say, have kind of had a resurgence. So I look at the Broncos, Pats, Chargers, Jags, and then the NFC, the Bears. You won't hear me say too many nice things, but I will say they had a bit of a
Were the
resurgence
Jags
there,
ever good?
obviously. You said what?
Sorry, were the Jags ever good in their history?
No. So I wouldn't put the Jags in the same category as like the Broncos and the Patriots, and like the Chargers are kind of
Yeah.
more like in the middle. But yeah, the Jags probably haven't really been that good. But also, I think that speaks a lot to all those. Well, yeah, actually, for all those teams, all five of the teams I just named Broncos, Pats, Chargers, Jags, and Bears, it's really been the emergence
The
of
worst.
quarterbacks. Huh?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said the. Never mind. Continue with what you were
Well,
saying.
that does play a role in it, but I am saving that caveat for a later conversation. That does very much play a role, though. But really, the quarterbacks, though, all the quarterbacks of those teams took major leaps this year and took the leaps that I feel like a lot of people expected them to take and wanted them to take with, the draft picks that they've been. So,
My apologies to Drake. May I have this dance? that was my second team name that I had thought of that I was going to post for the championship, but I thought, in homage to my guy on IR that freed up some spots. That was a team name. Anyways, yeah, no, those QBs have been balling all this year. Like Drake May, Caleb Williams, Mr. Nix, Trevor Lawrence. I feel like he's been almost the same human. I feel, but they're just more successful this year. I feel like they've always been like a team that has rode the thin line of being bad and good year by year, and like they just fell on the good side of the coin, and they got a little bit more over 500 than a little bit under, like past
Well,
years.
no, I mean they were 12-5 this year, bro.
No, I know that's what I'm saying. I
That's
love
not
for
that's not
some
a
reason
little over 500 though.
I
That's all I'm saying.
should give that more credit, but I feel like they've had winning seasons
Well,
and
fair.
made it to the playoffs. Like I feel like they had a 9-6 year in there at some point. They had like some like okayish years, just that Trevor Lawrence was like good, but like he had made mistakes. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like he's still been the same old Trevor Lawrence.
So you don't feel like he took a leap this year?
I don't. I test wise. I don't think that there's like. I don't know. I feel like he's always been good, but like
Well,
he had
yeah,
just
but it's like,
had
but if you're a quarterback that's drafted in the first round, right? Like you're expected to be good. But the question I feel like is always like, are you going to be elite? If you get drafted in the first round, the assumption is that you have the chance, of course, given the right opportunity, a lot of things got to go your way, but you have the opportunity, ideally, or the talent maybe to be elite. So I think from that standpoint, like good is okay for some time, but ultimately there's a leap into okay, like can you put yourself in the conversation of top 10 quarterbacks? Not necessarily saying he did that definitively this year, but I do think that there was a definitive leap from wherever he was at the end of last year to how people view him at the end of this year.
I can see that. I think in like how we view him for sure. I just can't say that like he made a leap like any of those other quarterbacks that we saw. I
That's
think he
fair.
like
In comparison, that's fair.
like yeah, like that's what I was like more getting at. I think yeah.
That's fair. No, I agree with that for sure. Absolutely. Last things on those teams. For the Broncos, this is the first time that they've clinched the AFC since 2015. And the first time in a while that they've had back-to-back playoff appearances, or since 2015 as well, that they've had back-to-back playoff appearances. Pat's first playoff appearance since 2021 for the Patriots. Uh Chargers have made the playoffs for a second consecutive year, but are they talented enough to really make a run in what's still a tough AFC, in my opinion? Bears' first playoff appearance since 2020, first division title since 2018 for the Bears. And then for the Jaguars, their first playoff appearance since 2022 and their third in the last 10 seasons. So a lot of new blood in the playoffs, which I think is great. And I think it's going to be a really good experience for these QBs. And I think that like QB shuffling at this point, we're going to start to see it happen. I think we're gonna get there. So there's that.